From the very first look to the final detail, this new Fendi collection reimagines sporty chic with a deliberately detached, almost dreamlike perspective. What makes it compelling is the freedom to blend styles and influences without being confined to seasonal trends. Instead, the goal is to shape an entirely new visual language. It's about lightness and color meeting a romantic kind of elegance. Small, seemingly effortless gestures that actually conceal a deeper complexity. That tension between opposites has always intrigued me, explains Silvia Venturini Fendi, glowing with satisfaction backstage. By weaving these contrasts together, the collection establishes a dialogue not only between different aesthetics but also between the women's and men's lines. Across both, floral motifs appear like brushstrokes from Impressionist paintings, sometimes as prints layered with luminous effects, other times as daisies embroidered or etched onto fur. The result is a refined play where sharp tailoring finds its way into sportswear, blurring boundaries and creating something altogether fresh. For spring/summer 2026, designer Filippo Grazioli Cagliari lays out a clear and refreshing vision for Missoni, a wardrobe that feels both everyday and effortlessly elevated. His approach is not about reinventing the brand's DNA but about reintroducing it into the rhythm of daily life, where comfort and versatility are just as important as style. The core of his formula is simple, wear Missoni without overcomplicating it. To Missonize an outfit, one doesn't need to be wrapped head to toe in the house's iconic zigzags, stripes, or kaleidoscopic patterns. A single gesture is enough. It could be a pair of shorts, a skirt, or a lightweight sweater carrying that unmistakable Missoni spirit. From there, the rest of the outfit becomes an open canvas, allowing personal taste and lifestyle to fill in the gaps. This philosophy feels modern, even liberating. It removes the pressure of dressing in total look codes and instead champions adaptability, letting Missoni seamlessly blend into a wide spectrum of wardrobes and occasions. In other words, the clothes are not dictating the wearer, they are inviting the wearer to play. But Cagliari goes beyond clothes. In response to what he calls the wear and tear of modern life, he proposes another practical yet stylish solution: generously sized bags. Often rendered in plush terry cloth, they are imagined as companions for the pace of contemporary living, capable of holding not only daily essentials but also a quick change of look for the evening ahead. The result is a collection that embodies both lightness and pragmatism. It is Missoni at its core, vibrant, recognizable, and full of character, but distilled into a form that feels approachable, wearable, and ready to move with its wearer through the many chapters of the day. The world today lives under a constant question mark: what does the future hold? Shaped by complex historical shifts, it often feels uncertain, even shadowed. Yet, life carries on, and as always, the show continues. History reminds us that in times of instability, people cling to memories, building collective identities. These memories, however, carry a dual nature. They unite us through shared experiences, but they can also generate myths and habits that distort reality. Watching the Prada Spring/Summer 2026 runway feels like witnessing the same sociological process. Each garment tells a story, born from fragments of memory, and together they weave a fabric rich in recollection and meaning. As Miuccia Prada explains, this collection emerged as a response to uncertainty, garments that evolve, adapt, and transform. It's fashion rooted in reality, where purpose and meaning meet. It asks, how do we face the world, and how do we endure it? In that very spirit of adaptability lies fashion's relevance today. Even in a future that feels undefined, as Prada describes, clothing can become both a shield and a language, a way to navigate what lies ahead. This season at Moschino, Adriana Appialozza presents a Spring/Summer 2026 collection that takes inspiration from optimism itself. One of the standout pieces is the playful Gazette print, originally reimagined years ago by Franco Moschino, and before him by Elsa Schiaparelli. This time, however, the newspaper pages tell only good news, a symbolic gesture that sets the tone for the show. Unlike the witty gags and overt humor that often defined past Moschino runways, this collection feels more restrained, shifting toward a quieter kind of storytelling. Still, it leaves us questioning whether a truly unified vision has yet emerged under Appialozza's direction. What does stand out is his commitment to the 3 Rs: reuse, recycle, and reimagine. In the official notes, the designer emphasizes that the brand's future must grow from respect for its history, while finding freshness in what already surrounds us. The framework is promising, and the references are clever. Yet, as much as this collection gestures toward renewal, it sometimes holds back on delivering bold solutions. Moschino is clearly in transition, a house honoring its past, experimenting with optimism, and still searching for the next defining chapter. Dario Vitale's debut at Milan Fashion Week marked a turning point for Versace, where tradition and innovation walked side by side. His first collection balanced the house's unmistakable sensuality with a modern reinterpretation, proving faithful to his training yet free from the weight of excessive homage. Instead of a traditional runway, Vitale chose the Ambrosiana Library, transforming it into a Milanese home filled with history and cultural resonance, a choice that spoke to the Italian spirit of the brand. The collection expressed what was described as a deeply Italian elegance with an irreverent impulse. Classical influences, from noble virtues to Mediterranean grandeur, were both celebrated and reimagined, weaving together heritage and daring creativity. Anticipation was high, heightened by the gowns already spotted at the Venice Film Festival, yet the presentation revealed a sharper vision. Versace projected into its future, guided by bold storytelling and the promise of new chapters ahead. The path forward is clear, and Vitale has left his mark. When it comes to fashion, the question of whether there's a boundary between the private and the public finds a clear answer: no. Clothing itself carries signs and meanings, and it's impossible to separate what belongs to the private sphere from what is meant for the public. That's why a pajama transformed into an outfit becomes a statement in plain sight. Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana titled their spring-summer collection PJ Project, explaining that it celebrates the freedom to redefine the line between the intimate and the public, between power and seduction. Forget pajamas as garments reserved only for sleep. Or rather, remember them, only to realize they can become so much more. Here lies the essence of private and public, a seamless passage between one and the other. From city streets to the boudoir, from tailored pinstripe suits with masculine cuts to culottes, bras, and corsets, fashion refuses to be confined. In today's fashion world, expectations run high, and few have sparked as much anticipation as Jonathan Anderson's debut for Dior's women's collection. Unlike his previous introduction to the men's line, this new chapter has generated an even greater sense of curiosity and excitement. The show opens with a projected video, displaying a montage of past moments on a white, triangular wall resembling an envelope pointing toward a box, the story box. Daring to join Maison Dior requires empathy for its history, the desire to interpret its language inscribed in the collective imagination, and the determination to contain all of it within a box, not to erase, but to preserve this heritage while looking toward the future, Anderson notes in his collection statement. The collection itself is rich with ideas, blending commercial appeal and creativity to build a cohesive narrative. Aware that high expectations can be a double-edged sword, capable of leading to either disappointment or relief, Anderson approaches his debut with measured confidence. He adapts to the house's legacy without rushing to revolutionize it. Yet, one can't help but feel that, quietly but unmistakably, change is already on its way. In today's fashion landscape, Pierpaolo Pacioli's debut at Balenciaga is far from a neutral event. Of course, every creative debut attracts attention, but in this case, the anticipation is particularly intense. The expectations are not focused merely on the garments, their shapes, lines, or colors, but rather on the possibility that Pacioli's creative vision might open a new narrative for the Maison. Before the show, in the backstage of Hôpital Laennec, Pacioli remarked that "we are made of memories," explaining that his approach to Balenciaga is not a direct tribute to Cristobal himself, but rather a gesture of respect toward all those who came before him in the brand's history. He recognized how Cristobal Balenciaga placed the human body at the center of his work, creating garments detached from strict anatomical shapes and leaving, between the fabric and the body, a space of air, a form of structural freedom. Starting from this insight, Pacioli begins to build his own creative path. The foundations of this new story are already in place, a maison with a legacy that bridges prêt-à-porter and haute couture, and a designer capable of reimagining its future. Beyond the pressure and expectation, every debut holds something valuable. it offers a glimpse of what lies ahead.